I will go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6:30, and we'll go ahead and move into roll call.
Wonderful. Director Ahuja,
Here.
Director Bajaj, absent. Director Chow, absent. Director Racy,
Present.
and Director Lasowski.
Present.
Okay, awesome. Hopefully Director Bajaj will join us soon. But for now, we'll go ahead and move forward on to public comment. So Jennifer, if you have anything to share.
You guys are doing a great job, and I hope everybody's having a great deal of success wherever they may be, and take care. Okay, that's my comment.
Thank you, we appreciate it. All right, great. We'll go ahead and move on to consent items. We have 4 items. If anyone wants to make a motion to just approve them all at once.
I'll make a motion, Steve.
All right.
I can second it, Nupur.
Awesome. So we have Director Wesolowski with the motion and Director Ahuja with the second. We'll move on to a vote.
All right, Director Ahuja,
Sorry, couldn't get myself off mute. Approve. Yeah.
okay. Director Bajaj, Director Chow, also absent. Director Racy,
In favor.
and Director Lasowski.
Agreed.
Great. We've approved our consent items. We have no discussion and action items. So we'll just go ahead and move on to item 5, information and discussion items. Kevin, you can go ahead and take it away with the general manager's report.
Great, thank you. All right, so we are now in a new fiscal year. The fiscal year started on July 1st, and so our pool closure tracker is reset at this point. So we have no unplanned closures at this point. As far as the work plan, the board orientation is still late, as we have 1 member without Form 700 and some other required training. The new and amended policies, of course, on time, also on hold. Our site master plan is still in the works. The staff has met with a couple architects so far to kind of vet them a little bit, see if they're interested in what we're doing. And County Council will soon be drafting a professional service agreement for that. It looks like we'll actually have to have 2 different architects on staff. One would be to do the site master plan, and then the second one would be to actually design and sort of do the architectural work to put together what the facility will need to look like. Apparently it can't be the same person because there's conflicts of interest. The site master planner is acting in a staff role, whereas the other portion of it, they'll be coming from the other side. And so you don't want to have the same architect doing both portions. So a little bit of extra complication, but it'll be handled appropriately. As for online software, you'll recall that we had started negotiations with Perfect Mind last year. And unfortunately, due to some illness and some contract negotiation issues, we could not complete that process in time. So we put that on hold. Now, instead of just redoing and starting, we're going to start over and also reevaluate, just because prices change and also features change over time. So currently, I've met with folks from Perfect Mind, which is now called Explore Recreation. And I'll be meeting with the other vendor at some point in the future. And I'll be calling some of the references to check on how their experience with the software has been. Folks like Los Gatos Recreation, because they use this product. Let's take a look here.
Do you know, Kevin, if it's possible to go actually physically to their location and just check their system out?
Sure.
That might give you a better understanding of how it's working. And
yeah, a lot of times the other agencies are really happy to share this type of information. So I'll probably try to reach out to their general manager and then get an appointment with the right person.
You know, is seeing it in action versus seeing it on paper, it'll make it very, very clear.
Absolutely, yeah. I think also it really depends on the implementation, but I think because Los Gatos Recreation is doing probably almost the same thing that we are, it should be a pretty similar implementation. So definitely I'll be heading out there, COVID permitting, and checking out the software for both different vendors.
Actually, the Los Gatos guys, from my point of view as a user, are only using it for, booking people into classes. And we don't have much in the way of classes. So it may turn out that software may not really fit our needs, but you'll have to judge that as you look at it. I'm not going to second guess it, ahead of times. But of course, I only see it from the point of view of the user. I don't see it from the point of view of a manager.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think part of the struggle for staff side will be the implementation, just because there's going to be 1,000 different ways to implement the software, because it's meant for more than just Los Gatos Recreation. They'll have many different ways of doing the same thing. And it'll be up to us to learn all of those ways and find out the way that we think is best, and then do that. So lots of work to come.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So I think this time around, what we'll try to do is find the software that we believe is best, negotiate a contract first, and then bring that finalized contract to the board for approval or rejection. And we're hoping to do that sometime in September or October. And that would give us plenty of time to, to start work on November 1st. So that's something exciting to come. As far as the summer's coming, ongoing staffing has been challenging. Every facility in California is seeing difficulty with recruitment, with maintaining, even salaried staff has been difficult for some districts to keep up with, and we are no exception. And what this means is that many of our programs, including public swim, have been impacted. So swim lessons, again, you're seeing less availability. There's just not as many lessons available. And even public swim, we have less lifeguards, which means, yes, we're open every day, but less people can come in. And there's more days this summer where people are coming in and finding out that there's no room to have them, even though there's plenty of space in the pool. And that's really unfortunate. So as the two programs that haven't been impacted as much is swim team and swim camp. Swim team has been staffed. Again, it's only 2 staff members per shift, so it's not as demanding. And for camp, it's a little bit easier to staff because the staff doesn't need to have the kind of swimming skills that the aquatic staff does. So we have a little bit easier time finding people to do this. So those are the 2 that have been less impacted. And the other problem, I would say, is just that everyone's new. At the frontline level, most of our frontline staff that are delivering services are new. Many of them are very good, very talented, but again, they're new. And so this poses a greater challenge to our leadership staff, because again, that means that we have to be on top of our game. Unfortunately, many of those leadership staff, this is their first time in that role. And so they're not new to Rancho, but they are new to the role. And so there's been a lot of rough spots that I am less satisfied with this year. And it's just a result of short staffing, moving people up quickly, and but I don't expect it to last very long. Typically, most of these rough spots resolve within the first maybe 2 weeks, and then from there things improve. So that's any questions on the manager's report?
Not a question, but I know you've mentioned the hiring of staff being an issue for a while now. Have you tried to reach out to schools and like the universities in the area?
Absolutely. That's our go-to. And that's actually for some reason that has been less effective this year than we've ever seen.
This year. Okay.
So typically that's what we do, is we put out the hiring flyers to the career centers at all the local high schools, and we start it in January.
Are you also doing it to the private schools? Like I know MIDI is right across.
Yes.
MIDI, because I know that my kids school, they require, and I don't know if we can do that, but being a government and nonprofit organization, can we give them community service hours? Is that something that we can do that? Because most high school kids need community service hours every year.
Yeah,
If
I
we
don't
can
know that
start
doing
doing
swim
that.
lessons would be good for community service hours.
No,
but
not
okay.
teaching, but just other stuff. See if you can kind of find things that'll give them hours that might encourage people to come, and then word spreads, right?
That's true. Yeah, I think if we ran events, that would be great to do volunteers. We would
Exactly.
need to change one of our insurances because I think right now we've entered 0 volunteers.
Okay.
So I don't think we're not covered for volunteers at this point.
Okay. So, but just putting it out there, see if that helps
Yeah.
with the staffing issue that you see.
Great. No, I appreciate all kinds of advice for sure. We do put out flyers to all the local high schools, and this year for some reason that's been not very good. What we have found is that doing, and this is something we've never done before, but we did because we were kind of desperate, is we did a hiring bonus where we give a $30 gift card, and one employee netted 18 hires. So this type of incentive seems to be quite effective, and I think we're going to try exploring that a little bit more.
It's all word of mouth. I'm telling you, people will bring friends in. Once
Right.
someone starts to make money, they all want their friends making money so that they can all go out together.
Absolutely. And so as long as we can keep a really good fun workplace with enough pay, I think that'll definitely start kind of accumulating over the years. So, but we'll keep up the Instagram campaign as well with the gift cards.
I know also too, like if we do decide to go through with volunteers, like CSF is a club that I've seen at most campuses. Because I know like the high schools themselves don't require community service hours, but a lot of students will join clubs that require community service hours. So even if we don't go down the volunteer route, maybe sending like a digital copy of the hiring flyer to these clubs to distribute to their members might be more effective. Just because also too, like not every student will walk into the career center.
Right.
They're not even in school right now. They're probably just checking their Facebook or their Instagrams. So if a club that they follow is posting about it, then that might be a better way to get some more eyes on it at least.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I didn't think about going directly to the clubs. So that could definitely work. So you said CSF, what is?
I think it's like California Scholarship Federation or Foundation, something like that.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Certainly, if we find ourselves in the same situation starting next year, I think we're really gonna have to, pull all this.
Don't wait till next year.
Mhm.
What I would recommend is reach out to the schools, because I know most private schools do need the community service hours.
Mhm.
So reach out to the college counselors of the schools early in the year so that they give the kids, because I know my kids always struggle to find place.
Yes, yeah.
And if you can find something for 14 years and above, that's better, because most people have a easier 16-year-olds and older it's easier for them to find, but 14 to 16, they have a hard time finding community service hours. So if we can find some kind of a position for them that helps them get that, somebody's got to drive them. They might have older siblings who will fit into the swim teacher role too.
We might be able to do something we've never done before, which is maybe something like a canned food drive or something, especially towards Thanksgiving. That type of thing is pretty big, and we might be able to have better public visibility if we do something like that.
Yeah, even simple things like, I know my kids, they went to, it was, I think, a shelter. Then they just went there and they painted the outside walls, and they did a whole bunch of this work that needed to be done for the shelter. But the kids did it for the community service hours. So if we have things like that, we can get these kids to do, it becomes a fun activity for them. And again, it's word of mouth. It spreads through the school that, yes, they had this trip there. More kids will look at the website. They'll see other things that are going on and what we need. It's just getting word out there. That might work.
Blood drives too. I know Stanford is always looking for locations, and they're
Yeah.
fairly easy to put on. I put one on back at my high school.
Yeah.
So if we have the space for it, I think that's definitely a good idea too.
Is there, just out of curiosity, is there an age limit for blood drives? I mean, oh, they would probably be doing registration and things like that. Right? Volunteers?
So I mean, they do them at high schools. So I know that like high school age students definitely can't donate blood. It's more so a height and weight requirement, and other like niche things, like if you have a tattoo or if you've traveled recently. But I'm sure there is more info on the Stanford blood donation website.
I think the catch over here
like
is
fun.
because of the sheer amount of international population, like people traveling. I know for India, if you've traveled to India within 12 months, they will not take blood.
Wow.
So over here, they will only take plasma, and that you have to go to the center itself. The drive doesn't work.
Wow.
But it's just, even if nobody shows up, it's getting the word out there that there is a pool over here that people can come and use.
Right.
The good thing too is most people show up and then find out they're not
Yeah,
eligible,
exactly.
So they'll still show up.
Yeah,
See where you
exactly.
show up.
Yeah, so it's just get more awareness out there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I think I'm gonna take a look at these ones, particularly for the fall.
It's hard to believe that somebody going community service hours is going to go through a week of training to become a lifeguard, in order to
You never
volunteer.
know.
But I mean,
Oh.
it's possible. I mean,
Just
but
my daughter couldn't get it. She had to actually do volunteer work online because she's 14.
Wow.
She couldn't find a place to do it. So she would have been happy to do a week of training and just get the 20 hours in that they need.
right. But then again, Kevin's brought up a good point in that it's going to raise our insurance rates to have volunteers, because there's a whole
No, not in the pool. I was saying volunteers for other stuff that is not.
a shortage seems to be pool personnel,
It is cool.
office personnel.
Yeah.
Office personnel are easy to get, comparatively easy. No, nobody's easy to get anymore. I understand that.
Nobody's easy to get. But I do like the blood drive, especially we can pair it up with the voters, the voting this November, so you can vote and then give blood. 2 in 1.
And you get a free pint of ice cream if you donate a pint of blood.
Oh, fun. All right, I'm going to reach out to you, Misha, about putting on this blood drive. So I think this sounds like a real fun thing. So, sorry, that was off tangent.
In terms of getting back to software, I'm going to raise the issue I raise every month, which is, and I raise it with you offline, which is signatures. Once I'm no longer on the board, I can't sign anything, and we need somebody to have signature authority so that we can pay our bills. So please keep working on that.
Definitely, yeah. With regards to what Steve was talking about, the electronic payment system is for credit cards for people to pay online and register for classes. What Director Waslowski is referring to is check signing for reimbursement and payment checks going out to vendors and things like that. Currently, the board has provided authority to me to sign refund checks to patrons. So any swimmers, they'll get the refund checks very quickly. And even quicker once we have electronic payment, because we can reverse the charge. Some vendors I can sign for. That's very regular things like PG&E, things like Comcast. So very set, regular type of bills I can do. But there is going to be a few checks that I will not be able to do, irregular things. And those we're going to need a board signer for. There are solutions, there are remote solutions. So one of them is a little bit slower, which is either snail mailing them to a board member for signature, or potentially simply emailing them for a signature and having that board member with envelopes and stamps. So there are solutions. And there's also the digital solution, which we can do, which is to sign up for, we were going to do bill.com to do electronic signatures. The problem that we ran into is that our check volume is a little bit low for that solution. So it makes it a little bit costly. Once we implement the digital payment system, the check volume is going to go down even more. And so,
you're still going to have a person who's a signatory, as we learned with our credit card this month. We had to have me to Chase,
yes,
because it happened to be in my name. It wouldn't take a check from you because the card wasn't in your name. So that's not going to end.
right. There will still be issues. So what Director Wisłowski is referring to is that there was a payment for the Rancho credit card that was lost in the mail. And so the credit card company Chase cut off the credit card bill, which is obviously not good because we have recurring payments for things like Zoom. And so they advised me that I can go in and pay by cash, and that would reopen the card immediately in a branch. So I did that. And when I went in, they said, you don't have authority to pay by cash. In any case, we were able to resolve it, but the point stands that we will need a signer locally to handle these types of issues.
Have you guys done bill pay at all with the bank?
We did with our old bank, Focus Bank, but then they got bought by Heritage and they stopped doing it.
Okay. So maybe that is something you can look at, because that would be electronic. You can just keep adding the billing information and the bank mails out the check for you.
Yes,
There's
yeah.
no physical signature needed.
Typically, there's a charge for that, which I'm sure wouldn't matter that much.
Really?
But
I maybe business
for business,
yeah, could be.
yeah.
I really don't know. Okay. But find
And
out
the
how
other-
much the charge is. It might be
Yeah.
worth it instead of physically mailing checks here and there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's true. And even if it does cost something, if we need it. So
And then you won't be paying for postage because
that's
the
true.
bank mails it out for you.
That's a good point.
So
Yeah, but you still need a signatory who's physically present and nearby for some of our vendors, like our credit card. So, and it's like I say, I keep raising this flag because come November or December, whichever month it happens, you won't have a signatory anymore. So, at least a legal one. There's going to be some point at which I can't sign, and I'm not complaining, but I'm signing a dozen checks a week, every week. Yes, most of them are refunds for various reasons, deposits, whatever, but they're not all that. They include real bills. So I'm hoping that whoever decides to be on the board after I've left, we've got at least one member who's going to be local, who can sign, so that we don't get shut down. That's all. That's all I got to say. I think I've said enough. Kevin and I had to fight it this month, so it never occurred to me that I couldn't just go in and pay off a credit card if it wasn't in my name. But we learned the hard way, And when all your bills are being paid by that credit card, you're screwed when they stop accepting charges. So, okay, brought it up another month, but we've got 4 more months to get this solved, and then whoever's on the board is gonna and Kevin are gonna be stuck with trying to figure out how the hell to pay the bills. Very simple item. So. All right.
Should we agendize this to next month to maybe talk about a solution?
Yeah, sure.
if you can, Kevin, just find out the charges and stuff for bill pay, because if that is done, it wouldn't matter what kind of bill it is, it will get paid online, be it credit card or any other biller.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the other thing is looking into potentially moving the credit card from Chase to Wells Fargo, so that way payment is simply just an authorization.
Yeah.
Rather than Chase, which
Yeah.
I don't-
Well, I work for Wells Fargo, so I don't have anything nice to say about Chase in any case. So
I'm sorry. You can't say anything because you work for Wells Fargo. That's right.
no, I said I can't say anything nice about Chase because I work for Wells Fargo.
I'm happy to sign. My only hesitation is since I'm up for re-election, I'm not sure if I'll be here after November, but if things go well, then I'm happy to do it. I drive home every weekend, so I can come down and sign.
Great, perfect. And again, we can just send you home with envelopes and stamps. So we'll make sure it works no matter what.
All right.
Right?
Well,
If there's nothing else, then we can just go ahead and move to adjourn if there's a motion. Oh, I can make a
I'm motion to adjourn.
Okay, great. And I'll second that. So I forget this every single meeting. Is it a vote by abstention? No.
You can even do if there's no objections, you know.
Objections. Okay.
Right.
If there's no objections, we'll go ahead and adjourn. We're done at 6:57. Nice and quick meeting today. So enjoy the rest of your evenings, everyone.